my friends, I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table, and we are talking all things Battletech, MechWarrior, etc. Big stompy robots. I was talking in the comment section on a different video I did for Star Wars way back in the day, and this fellow brought up something because he seen something that I was using for a background and was curious as to where I got it because he hadn't seen it back in the day when he was collecting like I was, and so I thought, I have a number of different odds and ends for Battletech that I'm going to do a few short videos on. I also like to say that in the last month or so, I've been really becoming more engrossed in a YouTube content provider called Big Red. I'll try to remember to put a link down below to his website. He's doing some really good stuff. He's doing some reviews on mechs, and that's not an uncommon thing. There's a number of YouTube providers, as I'm sure you know, who have gone through and highlighted every individual mech, and I have no intention of doing that sort of thing because, once again, there's so many others doing it, and they're doing it far better than I can do, and I have no qualms or gripe about that. I think it's great. Seconded being, of course, I don't have the ability to produce really good graphics and things that these guys can do, so I would not do them justice. It's not to say that in the future I wouldn't do some videos on my opinions on mech categories and classifications and groupings and things like this, but generally speaking, the individuals, no, I think I'm not going to be going down that rabbit hole. He also has been doing stuff for the history and factions, and he's also doing live stream every 6 days a week. He is actually working to make this a payable channel for himself, and he's putting a lot of work and effort into it. And you know, we don't always agree with everything everybody says. He's a pretty conducive individual, and he runs a good channel. It's well worth your time to check out and check into it. And so, on to the first thing. That thing that person was talking about was these blueprints. And I only have the one for the Battlemaster, but there were 5 or 6. I believe that there was one for the Locust, the Warhammer, the Wasp, and the Marauder. And these are full size. My camera just really cannot do a justice as to how this looks, but we're talking something that's about 2.5 feet wide by almost 3.5 feet long. It's your typical poster size, and these were created in the late to mid 80s, because it says right down here produced by FASA, and I want to say 87, and then licensed to a number of subsidiary companies and other 1987 FASA Corporation, and then from Chicago, Illinois, and then Jedco Games is exclusive distributor of FASA games in Australia and New Zealand, and TM Games exclusive distributor of FASA games in the United Kingdom. So these things were in and around the mid to late 80s. There's suggestions, because I went and Googled the stuff, and there's some suggestions that you could get these things that came as part of a MechForce supplement or an other attached, like in a set of, it came in a box set with some other stuff. I can't verify that because I never got it that way. I distinctly remember buying this particular one. It came rolled up like a poster in a box specifically for it, and Ivor, who at that time was he had a game store called Ivor's Dungeon. He's both the game store and Ivor are long gone, sadly. He had a handful of these. He only got a couple of each one because he didn't know how well they were going to sell. And it's kind of been, once again, a newly developing game system that was gathering some momentum and some popularity. But there's always those odds and ends that they produce that are hit or miss, or they only make a limited run. I believe I ran into something on the internet that last night that said you can get post-production replications of these things, but the date on it was pretty old, so I don't know if they still can get them or not. If you did have one of these, I tried Googled them as well. I've seen some schematics and stuff for FASA. There's a lot of Star Trek, because FASA, if you're not familiar with the company, produce a lot more than just Battletech. They produce their version of Star Trek and the Shadowrun. Shadowrun is their second. Battletech and Shadowrun are the two powerhouses for that company for many years. And Star Trek has long gone on to another franchise and is being produced by another company, but with my understanding, it has absolutely nothing to do with the original FASA version. And I have done videos on my FASA collection for Star Trek. I believe that was their first foray. FASA's first foray into gaming, but I could be, incorrect on that. I don't have all the facts and all the history because, frankly, I didn't care, and I do care, and I don't care now. So it's kind of moot. Anyway, if you kind of run across one of these things as a collector's item, I can only guess what they may or may not be worth to an individual. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't see these for sale, these particular ones for sale on Amazon or eBay, but that's not to say that I didn't spend 3 hours looking. And if you don't get the right tag words, sometimes you miss things. There was a company that's selling a lot of FASA products. Once again, the date was a little old, so I don't know if the company still exists, if they still had the material, but the date was only 8 or 9 years ago, so we're back to I don't know. It is what it is, but it's a nice thing. And this particular one sat on my shelf, or sat on my wall for a number of years. You can barely see the pinholes where I use thumbtacks to put them up. And then into my 30s or late 20s or something, I was in the process of moving around. I was moved out of my folks' house, etc. Between marriages, so a lot of this stuff got removed and pulled down and packed up and stored away. And fortunately for me, this is part of the collection that survived. I had a number of items that didn't, and I'm kind of sad about that. And their stories are varied, and in some cases, I flat out don't know what the hell happened to them. Anyway, this is that blueprint for Battlemaster, and right, Battletech trademark, Battlemaster shown in actual size. Anyway, till next time, this is Rick, and hope you guys have a great weekend.